that big giant wolf that can devour you, you know, in a heartbeat. And so God is both that, and He's all things. But His will for humanity is not a secret. He wants the best for not some of His children, but for all of us. And this is what is going to bring us happiness. Remember who the grantor of happiness is. True happiness. And remember, happiness is a very nebulous, vague term because it embraces, it encapsulates so many different facets, so many different components, so many different entities. In order to be happy, that it's very complex. So there are certain things that would be at the top of the list of being truly happy. And a lot of people say being truly happy, you know, we've heard it before over and over. Money, right? Money makes people happy. A good marriage makes people happy. Freedom. Feeling financially free, right? This is the whole thing with the money. This is why money makes you happy, because it's made you free. It's made you secure. It's a way out of fear. You're no longer living in financial insecurity. You're no longer living in that kind of fear, which is very powerful, very palpable fear, very real, tangible fear. So you understand why this has to be a universal quest. Okay, that equality, financially speaking, is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that, you know, all our numbers are ever going to match. I know there's always going to be a lot of inequality in terms of the numbers, but numbers don't have to matter. Okay, that's what I'm trying to make clear here, is that it doesn't have to be about numbers at all, which is, you know, how much numbers do you have in your assets and your savings and your stocks, bonds, your 401k. Your other fungible assets. Okay, it's about a sense of freedom, a sense of prosperity, a sense of equality. You understand? That's what's going to make you happy, is when you're free. You've got to be free. Okay? And you can say, yeah, but if I'm lonely and all alone, I'm not happy. Well, you're on, you know, that you'll have to consult with God on what it's going to take to find the right mate, right? So that, you know, you have that facet, that element, that entity of happiness, of being a whole, you know, male and female being whole, which I would agree with, that there's no way. I don't see how single men can be happy. I think they're full of it. Any guy that says that, I don't believe them, quite frankly. So in that sense, I'm not going to be happy until I have my better half. My better two-thirds is what I feel about that. So I get all that, okay? But I also get that I need to be financially free. I need to be financially secure. And I also get that since I can see the end from the beginning, and you should be able to too, you should be able to see, well, you know what, I know that, you know, I'm in a position where I can drive off the lot in that 2018 Corvette. And I don't care what anybody thinks. You know, there's nothing wrong with being rich. Nothing wrong with being, it's a good thing to be prosperous and successful and all this. Rich, right? Well, you know, in all honesty, it's not just what the neighbors think. It's what you think. It's more importantly, and vastly more importantly, it's what God thinks about it. You're ignoring the needs of the others when you could have given that money, okay, to a charity. You understand? Pour it in the black hole, essentially, right? Like I've pointed out, even if I had $10 billion and I gave it all to charity, I'm basically pouring in a black hole because of the way the system is designed, the beast system. It's just a big gaping maw of evil, like pouring, you know, more gas into a gas tank with a big hole and just making the hole bigger by so doing, and it just goes in the maws of the evildoers that are running the world, that are capitulating, complying to this beast system, saying, yeah, more, I'll take more. Give me that $50 billion a year. Give me that $50 billion a year Section 8 housing HUD. Give me that money, and I'll just make the problem worse. But at least I got the money. You know, I jumped on the bandwagon first, So I feel sorry for all you people that weren't savvy enough to get in earlier and just abandon your conscience and be like me. Do you understand how this thing is very serious? And it's for the sober-minded. It's not for the faint of heart. To be as shrewd as serpents, as innocent as doves. And to really be honest about what it's going to take to extricate ourselves as a so-called civilized society from this mess we're in. And it is a mess, my friends. And it's going to feel painful for a lot of people. They're going to think that their own self-interests are at stake and that they're losing the battle. That's what it's going to feel like when they see the cost of living go down, because they've been, in their minds, they think they've been benefiting from this high cost of living. Okay, because they've been trained, they believe, they've rationalized, and they bought into it. You understand? And I feel sorry for these people, and I'm scared for humanity. I'm scared of all the people that end up going to hell inadvertently. They don't even know that they're evil because they're serving two masters unbeknownst to them. But they're not choosing to not be ignorant. They're not choosing to not be confused about these issues. Like I've said, a child can understand these things. It's not an intellectual debate. It's just about truth and honesty and facing the realities of what I'm saying. You've got to see your cost of living go down. So if you're invested in the cost of living being high and getting higher, you're going to see that as a bad thing, and it's going to upset you. I'm sorry, but it's not a bad thing. And future generations are going to benefit if we can turn this train around, if we can get it on a new track, you know, if we can get this tide to turn so it starts lifting all the ships in that direction of universal prosperity, universal freedom. That's the only thing that's going to make us happy. God is a grantor of happiness, and we can't go this thing alone. Just as love isn't love till you give it away, freedom isn't freedom till you give it away. Equality isn't equality till you give it away. So your welfare and my welfare are one and the same. And until you figure that out, you're going to be just floundering in the muck and mire, the muddied and bloodied waters of the New World Order cabal. These evildoers, the beast system. You're going down the tubes. It's inevitable. You can't help it. It's just, you know, it's just nature taking its course. I mean, the Bible is rife with passages that would warn you. And that's what I'm doing, like a watchman on the tower. I mean, at least I could say your blood isn't on my hands or on my head. I've done my level best, my honest best, with God as my witness, to reach people and to really get them to face reality, to really be honest about what it's going to take, okay, to turn this ship around. You've got to change the way you think. You've got to go forth and help other people change the way they think about stuff. Again, as usual, I pontificated way too long, but I'm going to get on to current events right now and try to just really breeze through them. I really enjoyed Trump's Martin Luther King Jr. He's the only one that says it right. All over the place. I mean, mainstream media is better than alternative media, internet media on this, but on the Alex Jones show, everybody's calling him Martin Luther King. I mean, there was a senior, and we're talking about Martin Luther King Jr., so I'm just saying, that's his title. And unless you indicate whether you're talking about junior or senior, it's fair that people don't know who the hell you're talking about. We're talking about Martin Luther King Jr. and his I Have a Dream speech, okay? That's the guy that we are holding up as an icon of American history and American values. So I loved it. Go Daddy Trump on that speech. You know what? I was just thinking about some, and this might seem unrelated, but you know, I think about the madness of the world and the arbitrary, capricious nature, whimsical nature of the laws that we all follow. And I've come across a few traffic laws that really I find stupid and unnerving to me. And let me point a few of those out real quickly. One of them is this limit line. I mean, when you have to take a driver test, we all have to know what a limit line is. You know, either it's a pedestrian crosswalk or it's just a line across the intersection that we're not supposed to cross. Now, let me ask anybody out there, knowing that you're supposed to stop, of course, 5 feet, right? Isn't that what the book says? Back from the limit line. Let me ask you, if they really expect people to do that, we all know they don't. We all know, well, it only breaks the law when you go beyond the limit line, right? That's the only time you could be ticketed. So if they really want people for safety, for visibility, they don't want high profile vehicles driving up into the intersection, blocking your ability to make a safe turn when you have the right of way to make a right turn, for example. You've got high profile vehicles pull way up to the limit line in the intersection. They can't get a ticket, but they're being utter a-holes. So if they really want people to stop so far